thing we need to do, guys, is to open Tableau desktop and make sure you have the data set that I put in a classroom page so you can use it as a starting point. So from Tableau, the first thing we want to do is to make a data connection, and basically we select text file and then we select, for example, the first CSV file, income per person. Once we open this in Tableau, Tableau will create a header columns for all columns, header row for all columns. So you could remove this by two methods. Whether you click here, okay, which is going to make the first row as the header, or from this menu you can just say field names are in first row. Whatever you prefer is going to work perfectly fine. Now the second thing we want to do is to select all columns. So once we select the first column, press Shift key and go all the way to select all years. So from years 1800 to 2018, and now do right click and just click in pivot, which is going to create a pivot table from this data source. The next step is going to rename the columns to country and year, because these are all years. And now we are doing the income, so I will call this income per person. Okay? Now this is my first data source. You don't need to add a new connection to add the other data source. All you need to do is from this small arrow here, just click and just make a new data source. The same process, select text file and then select now life expectancy. You will notice that you have a header row generated by Tableau, so we want to get rid of that. I will use this method by using data interrupter to get rid of the header row. And now again I will select the first column, press Shift, move all the way to the back and right click and just do select pivot. Now this data source is about life expectancy. These are the country names, so I will rename this to country. I rename this to year, and this is basically the life expectancy. So now I have the two data source. Now what I need to do is to go and add the third one. Same process, guys. I just add the population total. Click on use data interrupter. Select all columns and make them pivot. Now we need to do the rename by year and rename here, which is going to be the population, and this is basically the country. The fourth data source is going to be the countries total, and you will find that we don't need everything here in this data source in countries total. So all we need to do is to keep name alpha 2, and we will remove those, we hide them actually. We remove the region and we remove the rest, or we just hide them, maybe we need them for later. So this is region and we rename this to be ID, and this is to be the country. So now I have all the data source ready for me to prepare and to work on. All I need to do is to create a new sheet, and I will come to the life expectancy. We create now a new sheet. So we go to that data source of life expectancy. We have one measurement called life expectancy. We drag this to the rows. Okay, guys? and then to the income, we select to the income data source and we drag the income. Okay, I will ignore this message at the moment just until I finish. Now you see, now you should be able to see some data here between income and life expectancy. Now we want to split the view, we want to make more detailed view. So what we do, we go back to life expectancy and I say, okay, give me detailed view based on country. So I have all the countries now. Now I want to classify those countries based on the region color, so I go to the countries total and I say, okay, color them based on region. So I drag the region field into the color shelf, so I can see now different colors, and this null value I could exclude it, so I could have more better colors. Now what we want to show the size of the country based on its population. So we go to the population data source and we drag the population to the size. Now if you click on the size, just increase the size of the bubble a little bit to make it obvious for the viewer to see. Okay, now I want to change the shape of this to be square, maybe. If you want it rectangle, you could do anything, but I prefer the solid one following the same style as the video. Finally, we want to animate the data over years, so I go to the primary and I say, okay, take all years and add all members to my data. Now once you press on this link, you should be able to see now an animation, and once you play, you could see now what you got in the diagram. There is one final thing you need to do, so let me stop the animation a little bit and just go back and make sure you did the fixed range of income between $200 to $50,000 and with logarithmic, and make sure you want to see the ages in a fixed range between 25 to 85 and close this. By the way, you could increase the size of the figure based on your data. You can add more weight based on your computer as well. And now you can play the animation and you see the evolution of your data over time. So that's it for the tutorial. You should be able to use the same for solving assignment 1, and thank you.